that my outfit was really cute, just saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that your point of view is very obstructed, and I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
The tolerant left doing what they do. This video is going viral, and there's been some discussion as to there might be some aspects of this interview, this conversation that was withheld. That's what the attacker is claiming. So this is an extended version of this video, and we'll see what really went down.
The channel?
Yeah, we're doing some interviews today.
I love your skin tone too.
Thank you. Such a good vibe.
Of course.
Well, awesome. So we're asking people's opinion today on Planned Parenthood. Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what they provide?
Yes. Abortions.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Safe abortions.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know any other services that they?
Now just look at this statistic right here. Just check out that stat right there. Planned Parenthood aborts 1,076 babies per day. And if the number is in question, there's a organization, I think it's called the Guttmacher Institute, that is a pro-abortion organization, and they have these numbers. So if you question any of these numbers, the information is readily available online for you to check out. But I think we can get numb at times just when we see numbers like this. 1,076 babies per day are killed in the womb here in the United States. I believe those numbers are here in the United States. That is a staggering figure. And it is really horrifying because we've become desensitized to the horrors that abortion actually is. To where numbers like this, we argue for it, we seek to justify it. The average everyday citizen believes abortion, which is literally killing innocent human beings, innocent babies, is a right or is a good thing that women should have. And I think that's largely because most people have been indoctrinated by the culture. They hear the talking points. They don't really hear the other side in most situations. So they just adopt the secular, worldly talking points and arguments, and they don't really think these things through. What are the consequences of a society, a so-called civil society that kills their own offspring? And what is the long-term impact of that? Not even mentioning the biblical ramifications, the long-term spiritual ramifications of that. But what is the impact of a society that seeks to justify the murder of its own offspring, of its own children? Nothing good can come from that ultimately. And you have a society that will ultimately seek to justify anything. If you can sink so low, and believe me, I used to support the idea of abortion. I used to say, well, I don't think an abortion was a good thing until it compromised my lifestyle, until it was a burden on what I wanted to do. Then I was all for it. When I was concerned that it was going to impact my wallet, then I had a different opinion on it. But again, I was making a claim as being a Christian, but then when truly challenged as to what I stood for, when my back was against the wall, because based on the consequences of my lifestyle, being out there running the streets, messing around with women, then I was thinking that it was okay. Pure hypocrisy on my part. So for anybody who's going to sit up there and say, well, you don't understand, trust me, I've been on the other side. I've been on every side of this conversation.
They provide?
I know, like, to teens, if you're under 18, you could get like birth control, condoms, counseling. They offer a lot of, beneficial things that the youth really should use right now.
Okay. So you have a pretty positive view of Planned Parenthood.
Majority. I don't know. Is this like a yes or no?
And the images that are blurred out at the bottom, I'll probably end up blurring them out a bit more because I want this video to go out. But I'll share the full images and they're only showing animated images of what actually happens to a baby during an abortion. This isn't some simple process where it's like the baby is treated good. Babies are dismembered in many of these instances, depending on how old the child is. So let's not play around with what's really going on. Again, if you want to see a more graphic version of this, because I'll probably blur out this image during my editing process because I know how YouTube is. But again, I'll link the full video, this full conversation with a bit more fuller demonstration of a second trimester abortion.
No, am I
It's
wrong?
your opinion.
But yeah, that is definitely my opinion. I feel like, especially as teens, you know, people get caught up in things that they really don't want to commit to for their entire lives. So
Yeah.
if you know you get caught up with the wrong guy, you think you're in love, and then boop, now you stuck. Not stuck, but you're stuck with a baby for the rest of it, you know, this time, literally the rest of their lives and your life, if you're that kind of mother, because some women just don't have it in them and they abandon them and abuse them and all kind of shit. And it's like, girl, just get rid of it if you know you're gonna do that.
Get rid.
So her argument is basically, if the mom is going to abuse the baby, your best bet would be just to kill it. That's her argument when taken to its natural conclusion. That's what she's saying. Forget being responsible beforehand, being abstaining from sex. And if you're going to make that choice, you have to be willing to understand the ramifications of sexual intercourse. A baby could be produced, a child could be produced, and you should be willing to face the consequences of that. But again, I don't want to distract from the full conversation, because here you also have an image of a first trimester. There was an image previously, and here is like a woman taking the abortion pill to terminate her pregnancy and what actually happens to the child. And you may want to go back and rewatch this video so you're not distracted, because I want you to hear the conversation that's going on as well.
Rid of them. Why not just give them to another family? That's good.
No, but exactly, even that, and that's another option that Planned Parenthood offers. So it's like, if you know that you are not the being who can provide for this child, then there are alternative options out there for you. So I definitely understand why people do abort children. Don't have babies that you don't want. Don't have babies that men are telling you in front of your face that they do not want. I wish more would stop doing that. Like, it's like a plan to.
Why don't they just stop having sex with people they don't want to have a child with?
That too. To me, it's always pro-choice, your body, your life, because that baby is gonna be a baby.
It's a baby.
Yeah, and you're gonna have.
And that argument, your body, I think she meant your body, my choice. That's the argument. But logically speaking, that is a extremely flawed argument. And here's why. That baby has a completely separate DNA pattern, has completely separate body parts, arms, legs, toes, fingers, brain, depending on how developed the child is. So technically speaking, the body inside the woman is not her body. It is a different, distinct, whole human being that deserves to be protected. That is the stance from the pro-life side, the pro-life argument. It is a distinct whole human being that has value and worth, that is also created in the image of God and deserves to be protected. And here she's talking about it like it's just a wart that pops up and you can just cut off. And it's not, because if that wart is left to continue to grow, it'll just be a wart. But if that child, that baby in the womb, grows in the natural process, it just becomes a more grown human being, because it's been a human being from conception. And that's scientific. And I'll link some of the articles that demonstrate that.
That big
Person.
plaza. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, do you know that Planned Parenthood gets nearly $700 million of our taxpayer money every year?
700 million. I mean, honestly, I can't go against Planned Parenthood. I just can't. $700 million for how many single mothers?
Of our money.
I just can't go against Planned Parenthood, she says. That's the indoctrination. She probably went to college. If not, she just heard it during school or from watching TV or listening to some of her favorite artists, people who have sacrificed their children on the altars of success or whatever it may be, in order to move their career along. You can't go against Planned Parenthood. I wish she would go back and really do a deep dive and try to understand the dark history of Margaret Sanger, who founded Planned Parenthood, how she believed that certain people, Black people included, should not be making babies. That was her belief. She had ties with the Ku Klux Klan, the Third Reich, the Nazi Party, adopted many of their principles and ideas. They had many meetings and conversations. Margaret Sanger's ideology, the woman behind Planned Parenthood, was a completely evil ideology and worldview. And that has been demonstrated time and time again, even by very left-leaning organizations that prove that. That's why a few years ago, they renamed, or they got rid of, or they renamed the Margaret Sanger Award, because people understood that she had ties to the Klan, and ideologically she was tied to Hitler and the Third Reich and the Nazi Party. There's just no getting around that. But yet somehow this worldview has been accepted, and largely accepted by Black folks or minorities, when ideologically speaking, it was meant to, in some aspect, in many ways and shapes and forms, to make sure that we didn't overpopulate. But yet Black folks, Hispanic folks, we're some of the main supporters of this evil organization, or this evil process in general.
Money, but they're not giving it to single mothers, though.
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna just, single out where it is that our tax dollars go, then the police, respectfully.
So it's really interesting because since 2010, prenatal care has been down for 80% since 2010 at Planned Parenthood. Adoption referrals. So this is why this is research straight from their yearly report of 2022 to 2023, I believe it is. And so they're a 501c3. They have to tell us what they do every single year. So this is straight.
Which should be any union corporation. If we are paying tax dollars towards you, I need to know that you are doing the job and doing it correctly.
Right. But let me continue to tell you. So the STI testing and treatment down 15% since 2019. Client numbers down overall 34% since 2006.
Nobody has insurance. I don't have insurance.
Donors down 21%. Contraceptives down 44%. Breast screenings, manual breast exams down over 80%. And you mentioned adoption. They commit 228 abortions for every one adoption referral. So why are they getting so much more money yet all of their services are going down?
The services are going down because people are afraid.
What are they afraid of?
Women don't know. They don't know what they're exposing their bodies to. A lot of people, especially behind abortion, there's a stigma.
But their abortions are going up. So they used to have this slogan where they said safe, legal, and rare. That's what we want. Safe, legal, and rare abortions, until it was exposed that a lot of these facilities were requiring abortion quotas. So the more abortions each facility did, the more praise that they would get. They would get awards.
Probably more money. Yeah, we went from safe, legal, and rare, and that even then that's questionable, because who is it safe for? Definitely not the child. And then if you look at the long-term impact of abortions on moms, their health care over the long haul, greater risk of certain types of cancers, and not even discussing the mental health problems, the mental health issues related to understand, because many of these women suffer in silence because they've been stigmatized that they can't speak out against abortion. They suffer because they understand that they terminated the life of their child. And many women suffer. Suicide rates are higher. These are things that are oftentimes hidden from the general public. And I think if more people understood, or more people actually saw the process, understood what really goes down, what really happens to these poor, innocent children, I think less people would be supporting of abortions. Let me know what you think. Comment down below.
And so it's really interesting. That doesn't really make it seem like they want safe, legal, and rare abortions.
Mm-hmm. How many people can you think, or are you going to assume, will literally abandon their children with no repercussions from the state?
No, it's called safe haven baby boxes. We're at a fire station or hospital. You can leave your baby and the mother doesn't have to do anything with it. But that's better than killing her baby through abortion, right?
No, ma'am.
It's not better to give your baby up to a family who wants them instead of killing them?
No, ma'am.
Listen to her rationality. It's better to kill the child as opposed to give the baby up for adoption. Kill the baby. Terminate the baby's life. I would say nine times out of 10 that this woman's had an abortion, and she is painstakingly seeking to justify her choice. But I guarantee you, if she has had one, she's wrestled with whether she did the right thing or not. But some people will seek to be logically consistent with their worldview or with their poor choices. And this is it on full display.
I've seen so many stories and countless, literally like countless stories.
What happens in an abortion?
They literally suck the life out of you. They're going to take the whole baby out. And as they should, because I shouldn't be a taxpayer paying child support and food stamps and WIC for women.
You should be a taxpayer paying for abortions?
Exactly. But as for a woman who didn't want the baby in the first place, that does.
And that's so frustrating to listen to. All this could be stopped early on if people are responsible sexually. Don't lay up with somebody that isn't your husband or your wife. That can eliminate one of the biggest aspects. Understand what somebody wants. Do you want to be a parent? Do you want to be a mom? Do you want to be a dad? Have these conversations early on before you decide to lay down. And if you're a woman, forgive my French, but spread your legs open for some dude or trifling fool who ain't trying to take care of his family, who isn't trying to rise to the occasion and step up and be responsible. It is what it is, y'all. The responsibility should fall on both parties, no doubt about it. But women, y'all got to do a better job with some of these brothers you decide you want to get intimately involved in. Just because he's cute and funny and makes you smile and dresses nice and smells good doesn't mean that he's got his crap together, morally speaking.
Doesn't make sense to me. Don't ever sit here and lock yourself down with a man who already told you he doesn't want to be with you.
I agree with you.
I'm not disagreeing with you either. I understand.
You don't get to kill the baby just because their dad didn't want them.
Can.
Should we kill the kids in foster care?
Why not? Why not? If that's the case.
We should kill the kids in foster care that aren't wanted.
Who's going to take care of them? I need to.
Wow. And just hearing the argument as it proceeds and the lack of common sense and moral decency, and this is public. And I'm sure this has been seen by millions of people already. If it hasn't, it should. Please share this video if you haven't seen it, or if you want more people to know about it, please share it. But just listen to her justification. Kill the kids in the adoption centers and in foster care. Kill them. Insanity. Insane.
To know the percentage of people who take children from foster care and abuse them and molest them, who make them like personal slaves.
One, what's the actual number? Because I'm sure the numbers are very low. And even if that is the case, her argument is simply this. In order to protect this child from the small percentage of people who may seek to harm them, it's better to murder them. So let's take that to its logical conclusion. So if somebody is going to get sexually assaulted or violated in some other way as an adult, in order to protect that individual, the victim, they should be killed so they don't have to suffer anymore? Is that what we should do? And I know she would say no because they're an adult, but as if the value of the person increases because they get larger. This is basically what she's saying. This is evil, y'all, straight up.
You should just kill them.
Statistics before you come to me talking about pro-life.
You should kill the victims of molestation.
I think What does this have to do with molestation?
You just mentioned people molesting children. We should kill the kids in foster care is what you said.
What I'm saying is in general, overall. If I don't want to have a baby, I should have the choice to.
Just don't have sex then. Just don't have sex.
That's not even logical.
It is.
It is. Who are you, Nancy?
I sound dumb. You sound dumb as. Okay.
It does, because even as teens, people explore. And it's like, as funny as you want to be, people should still have the choice.
So you went from saying that my outfit was really cute to saying I'm an effing idiot. That's so mean.
But I think that your point of view is very obstructed. And I think that you just don't understand the magnitude of having a child.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused.
That's not the point. What I'm saying.
That's really.
What's wrong with you? You have a.
Oh my god!
So you're losing an argument and you're being caught in your ridiculous, evil ideology. So what do? You respond with violence. I guarantee, and I say this all the time, y'all. I'm pretty sure this woman is a Democrat, and that's just what they've become. Somebody says something that you don't like, believes something that you don't agree with, so that you justify in your mind, in your deluded thinking, in your deluded worldview, that it's okay to be physically violent against them. And she's making this claim. Let me share this one thing right here, y'all. This same woman posted, the attacker I'm talking about, posted this right here on Facebook, trying to give her side of it. I need a platform to share my side of events. She has 7 million views, making me out to be a child-killing monster. It's what she did. It's her words. Her words are being used against her, and now she's upset. Insane, y'all, straight up. When she knows the truth, she railroaded me into all of this. She was walking by, and I don't see how she was railroaded. All she had to do was walk away if she didn't like where the conversation was going. That's all she had to do. Nobody forced her there. She needs to release the unedited footage with her relentless antagonization on a subject that is very touchy. So you don't like the words that are being stated. I don't hear her insulting her. If anybody did the insulting, it was a big chick against the pro-life reporter. And then she punches her in the face because she doesn't like where the conversation is going, even though she's out there in the public eye making comments. All she had to do at any point where she didn't like where the conversation was going was walk away. That's all she had to do. But she decided to stick around and attempt to defend her argument. In the meantime, she kept digging the hole, making herself look dumber and more, and exposing her evil mind. And yet she's trying to claim being the victim. It's ridiculous. She talks about on a subject that is very touchy. I will not allow my image to be defamed by this woman's actions. Her conversation. The actions are the one that were the violent actions. Anyone who knows me knows how respectful I am, and I don't even litter. Stupid. There's no way you believe I'm punching people for disagreeing with my point of view. Now, if there's some other aspect of this interview, this conversation that's out there, I hope she releases it all. But listening to the flow of the conversation, I don't see what additional info could be out there that we missed that would justify her acting violently towards her. But you never know. Maybe there's a point to be made that we don't see. And I'm always about us getting more information so that we can have a better understanding of what's really happening.
What the f you do?
All right. Yeah,
She attacked my wife.
all right.
Your wife is attacking.
You
Yo, so why you wanna?
Why you still following me? Why you following me?
Wanna get arrested? Look. Don't worry.
She just punched me in the face. We were just doing a street interview with my camera and everything was fine for over 20 minutes or however long we were filming, and then she just punched me in the face. Oh my God.
In conclusion, y'all, with this video, so many lessons to be learned. And one of the most profound lessons to be learned, and I'm not blaming the young lady who was conducting the interview, but you can never let your guard down when having some of these more heated, more passionate conversations, debates, arguments, discussions, however you want to term it, with some of these people. If you start seeing it going sideways, someone demonstrating aggression, just the way their conversation shifts and their language and their body language starts to shift, you can see her switch the phone in her hand. I mean, there are a lot of subtle things, and maybe I'm just more mindful of these things because of my law enforcement background, having worked in the prison, the county jail in Vegas, patrolled the streets, and being an advocate and practitioner of martial arts for decades. Maybe that's part of the reason why I'm a little more leery with people during conversations, and especially in our modern culture, because we live in a culture where silence is considered violence. If you don't speak up and advocate for these marginalized individuals, then some of these people feel it is completely justified in attacking you. Completely justified. Don't believe me? Just go back. I mean, heck, and you look at any Antifa rally or many BLM marches, you'll see just that going on. If you're out there speaking against what they stand for, they want free speech for them. If it's their speech, how dare you suppress it? But if it's opposing speech, they want you silenced. That's why when you have at a lot of these universities, a lot of these more progressive liberal universities around the country, when you get a conservative speaker or someone who's just a little to the right to many of their policies and their ideas, that's why you see so many of them become violent and they lash out and attack. So just a word of warning, y'all. If you're having these conversations with people, just be careful, because violence has become justified with the political left. Just look at what's happening with Elon Musk and his Teslas, because his man's basically shutting down the government. And you hear all these Democrats, very few of them are criticizing what's happening, the violent threats, the bombings, the terroristic threats that are taking place. Many of them are completely silent. Why? Because it supports them. And that's what they do. You name the policy that they didn't like, violence followed. So again, I'm not blaming this young lady, but unfortunately, it's a tough lesson for her to learn. If she continues to do these on the street interviews, hopefully next time she'll create some distance and she'll be more on her P's and Q's. I'm offering some advice in ways that she can protect herself in the future, and anybody else who happens to be watching. But I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this video. Comment down below. If you appreciate content like this, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And before you go, check out this video right here where we go into a bit more detail on a very similar topic.